Hello, how's it going, people? Welcome to today's stream. Today on the agenda we have something a bit different for today. Today we're gonna talk about Arsenal loans, basically in and out, specifically Arsenal loanees and Arsenal players that Arsenal have loaned out. Because let's be real, we have players that we consider that are not good enough. My camera is already doing a madness. How is this happening? We have players that we consider that are not good enough. And that's why if we couldn't sell them, we loan them out. Obviously, it's not always the case. Sometimes we need to loan just players out just so they can get some game time, given that they cannot get in our first team. But last transfer window, we let go quite a bit of players. We signed a few players, but at the same time, we also didn't get the job done. Let's be real. And at the moment, given our injury situation, everything, it kind of... There is an argument to be made. The players we sold / loaned out, it would have been the best if we kept them, obviously. But today we are not looking at the past, we are looking at the present, and we're going to look about the fact how Arsenal players that are out on loan specifically are doing in their specific leagues and for their specific clubs. And we're going to talk about the fact mostly because there are certain players that have been loaned out with option to buy. Some are loaned out with obligation to buy if certain requirements are met. And obviously there are also players that are out on loan just per se to be loaned out, obviously. So there's definitely some stuff to talk about in that regard, and we're going to do that specifically today. We're going to look at some stats, performances, ratings, and all those things if you can imagine, of course. So if you're new around here, don't forget to smash thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell and all that good stuff. Get live, interactive in the chat. Let's speak on them. And of course, if you're watching this as a playback, of course, don't forget to leave a comment down below. And today we are kicking things off. Obviously gonna look at the Arsenal squad. First things first, we're gonna look at the Arsenal squad. Big up Nathan in the chat. Big up my guy, big up. Arsenal squad for this season is pretty much straightforward players, and it didn't look like we're gonna get any loans, obviously. But the fact that we sold Ramsdale kind of forced us to go and loan in Norberto Neto, obviously. And we couldn't get Juan Garcia or anyone else. Biloff we were linked with and everything, we couldn't. So we got on loan Norberto Neto. And the other player we got on loan in is Raheem Sterling from Chelsea. Obviously, with Chelsea, it was a bit different type of story. Chelsea basically wanted him gone. Arsenal, quote-unquote, needed a winger. It feels like it was like an opportunistic signing, but doesn't feel that way whatsoever. But even though he's on loan here and he's playing for us, the good news in all of this is he's on around 300 grand a week, and Arsenal are only covering 100k of that. That is only good news at the moment with Sterling being at Arsenal. And Arsenal have two players, as we just talked about, loaned in. So if we look at them, how they're doing at Arsenal per se, it is what it is. Obviously, Norberto Neto has played 2 games in Premier League, but none of them have been for Arsenal. They have been for, obviously, they have been for Bournemouth specifically. For Arsenal, he hasn't played at all. For Bournemouth, he got a 1-1 draw against Forest and 1-1 draw against Newcastle, also captaining the team. In other ways, he hasn't played at all. And of course, in EFL Cup, in Carabao Cup, he played in 1-0 loss against West Ham. So this loan for Arsenal is a bit of a weird one. Obviously, Arsenal needed, in a desperate note, they needed a goalkeeper. So I decided to loan in Norberto Neto. The big question is, why the hell have we loaned in a goalkeeper? That is cup time. Because since he has played already in Carabao Cup for West Ham, he cannot play for Arsenal in the Carabao Cup, which kind of leaves us a bit short, especially if something with David Raya goes wrong. We need to play either Setford, either Nygaard, or the other youngster Porter, who played already for Arsenal against Bolton. So this is a very weird signing in general, and I don't believe he's gonna get much games at Arsenal in general. I maybe think he could get about 5 to 10 games overall if he's lucky. Genuinely, if he's lucky, because you can see that Arteta trusts pretty much only David Raya. We already saw that last season, even despite we had Ramsdale. Ramsdale played legitimately like a handful of games, and he didn't have the best of performances. Obviously, if you don't play a lot, you are out of form, and it kind of showed as well, to be honest. But with Neto, it was a weird one. It generally was a weird one, but it has a bit of a stamp of being a panic signing, since, again, we couldn't get Juan Garcia, and we couldn't get Biloff or whoever else we were linked with. So, obviously, we have to see how this develops at Arsenal, but at the moment, it has all indications for next summer he goes back to Bournemouth, and we need to sign a goalkeeper desperately, or in some weird scenario, Arsenal will instantly promote either Setford, either someone else, and they're gonna use him as a second goalkeeper. But we haven't seen him play. We haven't seen Setford play for Arsenal. We haven't seen Nygaard, of course, he's for under 18s even. And we've had a 16-year-old playing goal for us. We had Porter, I think it was, he played for us in goal. He got a clean sheet. Mind you, it was against Bolton and everything, but no, it wasn't clean sheet. We won 5-1. He conceded a goal. Nothing, couldn't do too much there. But yeah, it's not a great look for Arsenal goalkeeping-wise, but Norbert Neto, it was a weird one. And the second signing Arsenal loaned in is, of course, Raheem, the dream, as they like to call it, Sterling. On 300 plus grand a week, Arsenal only covering 100 grand, which is, in that instance, pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, that is the only good part so far for Arsenal that you can say is actually good with Sterling being here. Raheem Sterling in Premier League, 3 games, hasn't done much, at least at Arsenal per se. He has played also in Champions League for a few minutes, but in the EFL Cup against Bolton, mind you, he got a goal and assist. Now the big thing is, Raheem Sterling just came into the squad and against Bolton instantly got a goal and assist, whilst Gabriel Jesus did nothing against Bolton. And as mad as that is, it's also a very, very poor thing for Arsenal in general. But Raheem Sterling it's one of those which you kinda can accept on the sole reason we are not signing him. Well, hopefully, but we are not signing him. And the other part is, we don't have to cover his full wages. That was the only reason. And I generally believe that we already had signed Raheem Sterling about, I would say, 2-3 days before deadline day. It was just basically announced on the deadline day and wasn't basically put to public. But it is what it is. He's a squad player. Let's see what he does. Now, he could get a very big role at Arsenal if something goes wrong for our wingers. And that is, for me, the biggest question. What's going to happen then? Can he actually elevate his game to become some sort of a good Sterling in that sense once again? Because overall, Sterling, in the last few seasons, he hasn't done that great. And that is, for me, the biggest worry. Obviously, in Premier League, he has played nearly 400 games, which is actually quite massive. I'm not gonna lie, in 106 points in 123 games, as well as a winger, is nothing to sneeze at. But obviously, most of the points he has accumulated since he joined from Liverpool to Manchester City. Oh my goodness, yeah, to Manchester City. For Chelsea, he has got nearly or just over double digits per whole season. And if he can even replicate that at Arsenal in Premier League coming off the bench, I would be... I don't say I would be happy, but I would be pleased with that, because we have quite a bit of wingers. Obviously, we don't have a backup for Bukayo Saka, but in general, having extra points from the bench never is a bad thing, especially in certain title races and stuff like that, if you get what I mean, or in cup runs. But again, in the first 3 games he has played, obviously, hasn't done anything much, and that for me is a big worry. You could say he needs to adjust to the team, tactics and everything, but you cannot help wondering, is Sterling past his prime, or can he actually kick it into gear still? That is the big question right here. Because he technically is a left winger, and we already have Martinelli and Trossard in front of him. Which means he isn't even the second choice left winger in the team. He's the third choice winger. Obviously, I would assume he knew the situation coming in, but surely Arteta has given some guarantees that he will play, that he accepted this offer. I would assume so, at least. So whether it's going to be a right wing as a backup for Saka, or whatever happens to Saka, he might start a few games. It all remains to be seen. But if he starts at some point over Bukayo at any given time, he just needs to realize how big of a shoes he needs to fill. Because so far in 3 games, he hasn't done much, and he has been one of the main catalysts for us to having some nerve-wracking games, and that one of them counts also against Southampton. So with Raheem Sterling, all remains and all is up in the air. But yeah, we have only 2 loans in. But now we're gonna move to the players we have loaned out. And I think that, for me and for you lot as well, will be more interesting to see. Mostly because, let's be real, most of the football fans either follow only Arsenal or only Premier League. but only small part of fan base follows the loans that are out, that teams loan out. Because let's be real, Chelsea loans out about 50 players. Are you following them all? Arsenal have, at the moment, from the main squad, they have loaned out 5 players. You can follow them, but at the same time, Arsenal have lots of youngsters loaned out to national leagues and other teams, and nobody follows them. Let's be real. Unless you hear some special news, you don't know them. But let's kick things into gear. And we're gonna start off with Karl Hein. Karl Hein, who has been loaned out from Arsenal to Real Valladolid in guarantees of proper game time. He's the starting goalkeeper for Real Valladolid, and he's starting goalkeeper for a La Liga side, which already sounds kinda mad if you come to think of it. The thing is though, I have seen him play a few games for Real Valladolid, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been impressed so far. It doesn't help the fact that in 9 games, he has kept 3 clean sheets in La Liga, which overall, every third game keeping a clean sheet isn't bad on the face value, right? The thing is though, if you subtract of those 9 games, those 3, you are left with 6 games. And in those 6 games, cumulatively, he has conceded 19 goals, which is already, on average, 3 goals per game, which already is a big no-no, a big yikes. Obviously, you need to add a bit of a context in this regard, because if you look at the games, it was 3-0 against Real Madrid. It's Real Madrid, so let's keep it real. 3-1 against Celta Vigo, nothing too bad. Lots of 2-1s. His biggest downfall is this 7-0 game he had against Barcelona, where they legitimately destroyed him in goal. And that arguably is the biggest reason why, specifically, Karl Hein at the moment has this difference that in 6 games he has conceded, he has overall cumulatively conceded 19 goals. Because if Barcelona scored 3 goals, right, it drops down instantly to 13, and in 6 games conceding 13 might not be as bad for a goalkeeper that you would think is Karl Hein. So in that regard, it wouldn't be as bad. But of course, at the moment, Real Valladolid also are not doing too good in La Liga, because if I'm not mistaken, they are 18th or 19th or something like that. They are basically in a relegation battle, if I'm not mistaken. The table is, they are 19th. Real Valladolid at the moment are 19th. 5 goals scored, 19 conceded, minus 14 goal difference. Obviously, it comes from, again, that Barcelona game. At the same time, they have 5 points. And they are only 1 win away from getting out of this relegation zone, which is actually not that bad. But however, if 9 games is 1/4 of the season, pretty much. Let's be real. And the fact that you have conceded 19 goals already is nothing great, which if you basically do simple maths, you will concede over about 80 goals in that season. And if you concede over 80 goals, there's no chance in hell you're staying up. The big question is, will Karl Hein will be the catalyst in them staying up? Because at the moment, yes, he has quite a bit of goals conceded, but they have had some very narrow games, very close games where basically it has been like as you can see, 1-2, 2-1s, lots of very narrow games. The thing is though, they lose mostly home games. Well, no, obviously away game against Barcelona is not great, but they lose quite a bit of home games. Mallorca, Rayo Vallecano, although they are semi-established La Liga teams or just come up and still established teams, those are the teams they should be getting points from. Because nobody expects them to get points from Barcelona, from Real Madrid, in a way from Real Sociedad, but Real Sociedad are struggling. They were 16th at the table at the time. They are struggling quite a bit. And obviously, the teams you basically, as a La Liga team, on the downside, you are expected kinda to get at the moment points from, is basically Las Palmas, at the moment also Valencia, Getafe, Espanyol, Alves. They beat Espanyol 1-0, by the way. Alves would be one of those teams. Based on current form, also Sevilla and Girona, but they will bounce back, definitely. The thing is, they have lost already to certain teams in the bottom part of the league, which already spells a bit of a trouble for Real Valladolid going forward. Only reason, in my opinion, why they are not last is the fact that UD Las Palmas, they're playing actually quite fantastic football. They just cannot score to save their lives. They have very big issues with scoring goals because, as you can see, they score, but they don't score enough. 2-2 at home, 2-1 away, 1-1 against Real Madrid, by the way. That game they should have won. They played Real Madrid off the park. I was watching that game. 2-0, 3-2. They just cannot, they defensively cannot sustain the final pressure. And at times they just cannot score. That is the biggest issue with Las Palmas. And if they could manage to do that, Real Valladolid would be lost. And at the moment, one of the teams that are prime candidates for relegation are Real Valladolid. And that is the big thing. Obviously, Real Valladolid are the team that just came up. So they technically are the favorites also to instantly go down. But yeah, it's not looking great for Karl Hein overall, in my opinion. Yeah, he's in relegation. Interesting that Hein is their highest rated player this season. That is the thing. I'm gonna go on FOTMob just because. Because on SofaScore, it's one thing. But let's go and check Real Valladolid. Real Valladolid. If you look in general now, Real Valladolid, top-rated players, Karl Hein is second highest rated player in for them, at least according to FOTMob. So he technically, based on some scores and everything, is one of their best performers. Obviously, if you have one of the worst defenses, you have to make loads of saves. It kind of comes hand in hand, obviously. But at the same time, he is one of their main guys. The biggest issue for them is this column right here. In 9 games, 1 goal. Moro has 2 goals. The rest of them has 1 goal. They just cannot score. Basically, that's about it. If they could score a bit like a goal a game more or so, they would be around this 15-14 spot. That is the big thing. It's very small margins between the small teams. And the big thing is, Valladolid have to play Alves next. And Alves, yes, they're losing, but they're actually balling on a level. So that will be very interesting to see how that develops for them. But yeah, it's not looking great. It's not looking great at the moment for Karl Hein, although he is doing everything he can. Obviously, the fact that he has questionable defense in front of him is not helping him, of course. But at the moment, he's doing everything he can. He's looking pretty darn decently on certain level. Let's be real. We're gonna stay in La Liga, and we're gonna go on Sambi Lokonga. Now, I've watched, I think, 2 games of Lokonga, and he has played only 3. Biggest part of that is because he went to Sevilla and instantly got injured. And then he got injured once again. He had a hamstring. He was out for 20 days. It took him 2 weeks and he got injured once again and he missed 4 games. It's good to remind you that Lokonga at the moment is on loan at Sevilla with option to buy. Which already the fact that he has been injured for 5 out of 9 games available, so more than half a games, is not a good thing for him. It's not a good thing for Arsenal as well. Because that option gives an option to buy, gives a possibility for Sevilla to turn around and say, well, even though he did something, he was too injury prone and we don't want him, which means he is returning to Arsenal. The thing is though, Lokonga's contract runs out next year in June 30th, which means at the end of this season that currently is going on, his contract expires at least on loan, and I think his contract at Arsenal expires 1 year after, which means we could basically lose him for free potentially, which again is not a good thing per se. Obviously he's not doing great. In those terms, I watched him to play against. They played against Girona, I think it was, or Sevilla. Let me check now. The game they lost 2-0. Yeah, they played against Girona. He got a yellow in 47th. I watched him play. I'm not gonna lie, he looked like fish out of water. I'm not gonna lie, he looked very, very questionable. Very questionable. So that is the biggest thing about him. He played a full 90 in that game as well. He got a yellow. He looked a bit out of place. As you can see, he has missed most of the games with a hamstring injury. Against Villarreal, he didn't even get on the pitch. Against Mallorca, he played 63 minutes, and he got subbed on against Betis for the last 18 minutes, which actually is not that bad. He got basically subbed on in Sevilla derby, by the way, to see out the game. In that regard, it's actually pretty darn nice, I'm not gonna lie, if you ask me. But at the moment he has played only 3 games out of 9 available, which means he has missed about 67% of the games, which is genuinely not good. Not good at all. And if Arsenal have any chances of actually selling him, or chances of Sevilla actually signing him instantly, he needs to stay injury free and he needs to perform. Because when they just before they signed him, there were multiple reports about the fact that Sevilla are scouting the market to find a player who basically is the proper profile they see Sambi Lokonga as. That's why they took Sambi Lokonga, but they were still scouting the market to find the same type of profile player who arguably would be better or secure that spot. So Sambi Lokonga has quite a bit to prove, to say, at Sevilla and to Sevilla if he wants to play there full time. Obviously, he has a friend there in Luke Bacchio, another Belgian player and everything. Maybe he can help him settle in. But overall, he has a massive work cut out for him. It all remains to be seen what's going to happen. But he is off to a very rocky start at Sevilla. I watched him play. He looked like fish out of water, first of all. He got a yellow as well. And then he is injured for most of the games. That is genuinely one of the worst starts you could ever imagine as a loanee to a different team. Only thing missing from this picture is him getting a red card at some point. That is the only thing missing from this picture. So he's not looking great, and to be honest, he didn't do very great at Crystal Palace as well. He was playing quite a bit when he was 2 years ago on loan at Crystal Palace, but once Patrick Vieira got sacked, he didn't play almost whatsoever. And when he went to Luton, he actually was playing on semi-regular basis. 17 games, 1 goal, 3 assists, so he played half a season. That is the big thing, he played half a season there, which wasn't too bad. He missed 10 games for Luton as well, so that was a big part of it. But isn't that showing something that the championship side in Luton even deemed that Sambi Lokonga is not good enough for them? Isn't that a saying as well? Because let's be real, whether you like it to admit it or not, Sevilla are a bigger club than Luton. No shadow of a doubt. And even if he's not good enough for Luton, there is a big argument to be made that he is also not good enough for Sevilla. Obviously, different type of football situation, everything. But so far, what at least I have seen him, what the stats are saying for him in the games he has played for Sevilla, it's not looking too great. Genuinely not looking too great. Let's check Lokonga. Albert Sambi Lokonga. Here we go. Albert Sambi Lokonga. Let's see what he has done. Let's look at some stats. Let's do it this way. So, he's on loan there for a season, obviously. When he has played, see, as you can see, he's been injured quite a bit. But in the last 12 months, I don't care. He has gone very average ratings as well. Very average ratings. If you look, well, that's in Premier League. Here we go. Against Mallorca and 0-0 draw, he got a 7. Against Girona, where Girona won 2-0, despite the yellow card and everything, he got 7.3. I'm not gonna lie, in spite of what I saw, it was way too high for him. Although, it is what it is. All of the Sevilla ratings are kind of high. And against Real Betis, he got a 6.5. He played 18 minutes. It was quite interesting, to say the least. But overall, yeah, he isn't that the type of guy who would set the world on fire. He got sold us as a dream that he will be the Belgian Yaya Toure when we signed him from Anderlecht by Company. And now we are where we are with him. We cannot even loan him with obligation to buy. We cannot even sell him properly. We have to loan him out in hopes that he performs, and Sevilla are as pleased with him to a certain level that they want to sign him. That's where we are with him at the moment. And that is another 17 or something million we have wasted in general. That is also another one of the bad businesses Arsenal have done in terms of signing certain players. Let's be real. Klopp hyped up Lokonga last season. Don't know what he was on about, to be honest. Maybe under Jurgen Klopp, he would be on fire. Maybe under Jurgen Klopp he could succeed. Maybe. Who knows? The similar like Martinelli would be a world beater under Jurgen Klopp because he strikes like a Jurgen Klopp type of player. I'm talking about Martinelli here. About Sambi Lokonga, I am not too sure. Because even if you think about Arsenal, he came to Arsenal, he played a few games, and in those first few games he actually looked pretty decent. You were looking at him, the way he was playing, and you were saying, well, there is a player there actually. He actually, if he gets it together and he trains and puts his head down and works, he actually could be a decent player. There was definitely that type of talk. But then it felt like he all of a sudden fell off a cliff. He got the caught out, and he lost possession on multiple occasions in dangerous areas, which led to goals, us conceding. He couldn't pass the ball, and when he gets pressed, he kind of started to panic and lose the possession. I think that really kind of pissed off Mikel Arteta, and that was the reason why he doesn't want him there. Because instantly, as soon as he got pressed, he generally had the deer in the headlights look at times. And I think that was one of the biggest reasons why he's not at Arsenal anymore. I don't think he's not good enough in that regard. He cannot withstand the pressure. Obviously in Sevilla, even though you get pressed, and La Liga in this instance, not Sevilla, but in La Liga, even though you get pressed, many times you get more time on the ball. And I think that is the reasoning why he might be doing a bit better there than he would be doing in Premier League or Championship even, actually. So maybe the loan move to Sevilla for him actually could work out. The biggest question is, will it work out? Because if he keeps getting injured, it's not going to be a good thing. Because he will come back, he will have a year left or even less left on his contract, and Arsenal will be again losing money. Wait. When does his contract run out at Arsenal? His contract runs out next summer. Genuinely. His contract runs out next summer. No, 2026, never mind. His contract runs out for Sevilla in June 2025, and year after his contract runs out at Arsenal. So arguably this is the final audition for Sambi Lokonga to actually do anything. Because next year, it will basically be let him go for free and sell him for like 3 million to, I don't know, to someone like, which team could take him? Sell him to League, I don't know, to Lens or something like that for 3 million. Something stupid like that. Because there will be no takers unless this season he actually shows that he can kick a ball properly. There is a player there. Because he's arguably, for Arsenal, in Arsenal's point of view, on the last strings, we paid him 17 million for him. And there is no chance in hell we are getting any of that money back. It just shows how much money we have wasted on him as well. It's actually wild if you think about it over the years, how much money we have wasted on very subpar and quote-unquote useless players. That is actually kind of wild. Moving things on to Fabio Vieira, and it's saying we are talking about shitters left, right, and center, to be honest. Fabio Vieira, another player who went out on loan and instantly got injured. Kid you not, he's another player who got instantly injured, just like Sambi Lokonga, as you can see. He went out on loan September 10th, pretty much instantly, bang, gets injured for 2 weeks with a muscle injury. Like, you cannot write this shit. Like, every single player goes out on loan from Arsenal, instantly gets injured. However, we bought him for 34 million. That's already money down the drain instantly, let's be real. Even when he signed him from Porto, he wasn't one of their main guys. He was legitimately just a sub and an occasional starter. You have to keep that in mind. And at the moment in Sevilla, he has played 2 games, 1 game in Europa League, and he hasn't played quite a bit as well. He has played, on average, 21 minutes a game in Liga Portugal, and only 12 minutes in Europa League, and all of those games have been from right wing spot. He didn't play in a 3-2 loss, he played in a 3-3 draw for 12 minutes as a right wing against Manchester United, as mad as it sounds, by the way. And he missed first 3 games for Porto due to injuries, and then he played in a 4-0 win, 21 minutes against Aruca, and 21 minutes on average. It's not even average; it's straight down the middle actually. In 2-1 win against Braga for Porto at home. So at the moment as well, even he's like Sambi Lokonga. He has done nothing so far out on loan. He has been injured for the most of the games of the season. And he also is one of those guys who hasn't worked out at Arsenal. Because we signed him 2 years ago. In these 2 years' time at Arsenal, what has he done? Because if you ask me, what I remember from Fabio Vieira at Arsenal, kid you not, he scored a long shot against Brentford. He got a red card in a game against Wolves or Palace, something like that. And when he came on, he had a few some key passes in the FA Cup and stuff like that. Besides that, he's been injured most of the time, or he's been warming the bench for Arsenal in general. Because if you look, last season for Arsenal, he missed 20 games. 20 games. That's half the season in Premier League's terms. Half the season. He has done nothing at Arsenal. Now we basically paid Porto 34 million to sign one of their guys for us to be injured and sit on the bench for 2 years, and then we just loan him back and say, well, check him out. What he have done with him? Maybe you can restart his career. Obviously, we had to do something because his contract also slowly is running out, and at the pace he is going, nobody will want to buy him, and nobody will want to extend his contract as well. So what we gonna do then? Because that is the big issue at the moment for Arsenal as well. Fabio Vieira contract, when it runs out. It runs out until till 2027, basically. Which means he comes back from loan. He has 2 more years to be out on loan. To be at Arsenal. 2 more years. And again, that means that Arsenal will have either 1 more year to basically prove us that he can play for Arsenal, or 1 more year to find a proper suitor for him to get sold. Because that is either or what can happen with him. Because he hasn't showed anything that he can be a consistent backup for Saka, consistent backup for Odegaard, because those are 2 of his primary positions as a number 10 and as a right winger. And at the moment, he basically, as a player for Arsenal's terms, is raising more questions than answers. I know many people said that give Fabio Vieira time and everything, he will come good. But he has been here for 2 years. First year, he will do better in second year. Second year, he did nothing. Again, he did nothing. And now he's out on loan to the club where we bought him from. And as far as I know, there's also no buy option or anything. It's a basically strict out plain loan. Which means next summer he's coming back. What we gonna do then? Unless he has a world beater season from now, and we actually can maybe rise up his stock, and we can make an argument for him to stay, or we can actually sell him for at least breaking even, not even talking about ROI, return on investment, it's another flop signing. And Arsenal, as Edu said, we are signing players that everyone wants. We are re-signing players on new contracts to protect their value. And I'm not talking about Salibas and the big players here, I'm talking about players like this, like Nelson, like Nketiah. If everyone wants these players, how comes we cannot sell them whatsoever whenever we want to? If we extend their contracts to protect their value, how comes while we protect their value, they don't do anything for us? They don't do anything on loan pretty much. And at the end of the day, what happens? They either leave for free or we sell them basically for a bag of peanuts. That is what it is at the moment. And Fabio Vieira at the moment is another example of that. So far has done nothing. Obviously, it's very early in the season. They have had only 6 games, or 7 if I'm not mistaken. Fabio Vieira has played only 2 of those. But again, they have played 8 games, and he has played only in 2 of those. But again, they're at the moment, he has done nothing. He's not even starting. He is just a rotational player at the moment. Obviously, he came just back from injury. Maybe he can become a starting player. But at the end of the day, so far, again, he is doing nothing. And that, again, is another player that Arsenal have wasted money on. 34 million. And all, like, Lokonga and Fabio Vieira, if you put that money together, is 51 million. 51 million. And for that money, we could have gotten a world beater in the midfield, for example, or a proper backup. We could have signed Elise long term. So it's very weird that we are signing players that everyone wants, yet they don't perform for us. They don't perform out on loan, and then we are struggling to sell them. It's not a coincidence. It's genuinely not a coincidence. So this loan, it's actually a fun video, by the way. Thanks, Nathan, for suggesting it. Now that we look back at the players we are loaning out, it's pretty much evident we are loaning out players that we pretty much subconsciously maybe don't want to admit, but we know they are not good enough. We are maybe loaning them out in hopes that they might become good or someone else will sign them with obligations, options to buy. But at the end of the day, if you don't do anything at the club, they have no incentive to actually try and sign you, to pay any money for them. So far, it's been quite depressing in that regard. And it doesn't get better from here. We are looking at Marquinhos now, who is still out on loan at Fluminense. This is the player that really is confusing for me personally. Marquinhos. We should have gotten him for free. We paid 3 million just on top to get him on loan. Basically to get him from Sao Paulo, to keep good relations, we paid 3 million. But at the end of the day, at the moment, what has he done at Arsenal? He was here for some time. He scored against I'm just now blanking on the team's name. Oh, who did he score against? We played them in Europa League. Not Lucerne, but the other one. What was the club's name from Austria? Oh my god. Austrian League. Where is this? Where is the club? Where is the club I'm looking for? Table. Where is the club I'm looking for? Hartberg, Glasser, Antracht. What was the name of the club we signed him for? What was the club we signed him for? He scored against. I forgot the name. Arsenal Europa League. 22-23. Zurich, here we go. Zurich. Yeah. Zurich. Yeah. Zurich. Marquinhos. Oh my god, Tierney scored against them. God bless the guy. Against Zurich, he scored. He cried his eyes out. Then he did nothing. He went out on loan to Norwich. I kid you not. He went out on loan to Norwich. Right here. He scored a goal and assist in the first game. The rest of the season did F all. Kid you not. Then he goes out to loan to Nantes, does nothing, gets recalled mid-season in January and then gets loaned down to Fluminense. And he's coming back during January transfer window once again. The question is, what will he do? What we will do with him during January transfer window? Loan him out again? Try and sell him or what? That is the big thing. He has 2 yellow cards and he has 1 assist and 16 appearances. He has more yellows than GA. Now, you need to keep this. He has won a trophy. What the hell? The Copa Sudamericana winner. Man, you need to keep this in mind though. For Fluminense, I tuned in one of the games and the brother was playing at right back. I kid you not, he was playing at right back. How mad and wild is that? I think in which game was it? I don't remember, but he was playing at right back. Libertadores. Wait. Fluminense, Marquinhos, right back. I think he was. I swear to God. Marquinhos, Cup Brazil. Yeah, he did not play. He doesn't play even every single game. How wild is that? Wait, 16 games. Wait, let's see. 16 games. He has had quite a bit of injuries. He hasn't played the most recent games, by the way. He has played in a loss. He plays either right... See? Well, here it is. Right back. He has played 3 games at right back. And as the weirdest fact is, the only assist he has gotten in the Brazilian league is from the goddamn right back spot against Atletico Mineiro. That is the wildest part is the fact that he has more yellows than GA. But the fact that he plays as a right mid, right wing or left mid most of the time, yet the only point he has gotten is from the right back spot is actually kinda nuts if you ask me. And the biggest question is, what we gonna do with him? Because he hasn't worked out at Arsenal, at least until now. He's already 21, by the way. He hasn't worked out in any of the loans he has been at, which is also very bad. What we gonna do with him long term? Because we signed him for 3 million, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it? We signed him for 3 million, should have been for free, but we signed him for 3 million. Yeah, here it is, 3.5 million. At the moment, according to Transfermarkt, his value is 7 million. So technically, somehow, by some goddamn freaking miracle, we have doubled his value. Somehow. Don't ask me how, but somehow. And now the biggest question is, what are we gonna do with him? Is the master plan in January keep him as a backup for Bukayo Saka? Or what? Because at the moment, again, this is one of those players that raises more questions than gives answers. Similarly like Fabio Vieira at Arsenal at the moment. He's not doing great on loan. He's playing quite a bit of games on in certain positions, but again, the only point he has gotten during the season is from the right back spot where he hasn't played. He has been at Fluminense and he has only been injured at Fluminense as well, by the way, as wild as that is. He has missed 10 games overall, which obviously is not that bad, but this is another one where we basically we don't know what to do with him. This is one of those players. Maybe he can work out somewhere. How much Arsenal will sell him for is also a big question at the moment. Because I have no idea what direction Arsenal are going with Marquinhos at the moment. Are they going for a cup? Are they going him for selling, signing, loaning, whatever they're going to try and do? Maybe integrate even into the team. Because look what he did at Nantes when he was in Ligue 1. Nothing. He got an assist in a 5-3 win, and he played 7 games out of 17. He wasn't in the squad. I think it was due to Brazil Young Cups under 23, something like that. He was with Brazil there. That's why he wasn't with the squad. And he was on the bench for 4 more, but he did do nothing. And in none of the games, he also has played a full 90. He played 2 minutes in a loss to Toulouse, 18 against Lille, 1 minute against Marseille, 58 against Clermont Foot. In 10 minutes, he got an assist against Lorient, 29 minutes against PSG, and 32 minutes against Brestois. So he actually hasn't done that great. In Copa Libertadores, though, he plays quite a bit. That is actually pretty nice to see. I'm not gonna lie, but that again was in April in this year, which was, I kid you not, 6 months ago. He got a goal and assist against Colo. That, if he could keep this up, that would be actually kind of nice. And in Brasileiro Serie A, nothing. Genuinely nothing. He does nothing. He's either injured or on the bench, in the recent games at least. Since August, he has been either injured or he has been on the bench. He played a few games, then he has injured, and since then he has been pretty much on the bench. I'm still confused about this. Full 90 at right back, team draws 2-2, and he gets the only point in his games for Fluminense from right back, which is not his natural position. That is the wildest part for me with Marquinhos per se. But yeah, Marquinhos is another one who is out on loan, and nobody has any goddamn clue what's gonna happen with him. Because we can kind of imagine what's most likely gonna happen with... We talked about Hein potentially, with Vieira as well, it's a bit up in the air. Who else we talked about? Sambi Lokonga and stuff like that. Marquinhos is another one who is under a big question mark at the moment. What's gonna happen? What we gonna do? What we gonna do with him? That is again the big question. But yeah, that is that. But now we are moving to the two big boys. Two big boys for Arsenal. We're gonna start with our own Hail and graduate Reiss Nelson. He got loaned out on the last day of deadline day. At first he had to go to Ipswich, but then the deal magically broke down and he went to Fulham. And he is there reunited with Arsenal's retirement home with Emil Smith-Rowe, Iwobi, Bernd Leno. At some point De Willian was there. Quite a bit of Arsenal players have played there, I'm not gonna lie. But the big thing about him is he is actually balling there. The amount, obviously, maybe stats don't show it. In 5 games he has goal and assist. But the way he is playing, the coach is trusting him quite a bit. He's actually doing very well. He gets consistent and regular play time every single game. Generally, every single game. He obviously didn't play against Ipswich because that was deadline day. But overall, he plays every single damn game. He scored against Newcastle, assisted against Manchester City, Reiss Nelson is actually on a very good form, by the way. 17-16 on penalties. Holy crap. Second part is, they played against Preston away and they lost. Arsenal play against Preston, by the way, in their next match in Carabao Cup. Arsenal's B team and now the Arsenal's A team they're gonna play. Interesting, huh? But yeah, he played 86 minutes and he managed to score a goal as well, which is actually quite brilliant. But Reiss Nelson is one of those players who I actually have belief that if he actually has a great season, he could come back into Arsenal and actually maybe go for a proper backup spot for Bukayo Saka. He's arguably the only loan we have. I have any belief that he could come back and actually be a player in the squad. He's the only one. If we loaned out Emil Smith-Rowe, he would be the other one, but we sold him. But yeah, Reiss Nelson, he's actually balling out. In my opinion, at least. The what have I seen from Fulham at the moment, the way they're playing, the way he has been integrated into the team, the amount of game time he gets, and the way teammates support him and everything, he is actually doing quite well. I'm not gonna lie, he's actually doing quite well. Obviously, the fact that he's on 100 bags a week is not a great thing for Arsenal because selling him obviously makes it that much more difficult. But at the end of the day, it's actually very nice to see him getting proper game time, getting properly things done. So for me, Reiss Nelson is actually doing fantastically well out on loan for Fulham. Oh, very sorry. So Reiss Nelson is doing well. And now we move to arguably at the moment our best loan player out there. As wild as it says, I'm saying he's the best loan player out from Arsenal. And yes, I'm speaking about Nuno Tavares. As wild as it sounds, as weird as it sounds, it is Nuno Tavares. Obviously, he signed for Arsenal for 8 million, which is actually quite a low money amount given the fact that he's nearly doubled in market value at the moment. But we signed him for 8 million in hopes that he could work out. For Arsenal, he didn't work out, unfortunately, because again, he is something similar like Sambi Lokonga. He had a very good games in the beginning, and then that one game against Liverpool where he gave the ball away and everything, and he, I think, lost the confidence because Mikel Arteta subbed him off, and then he started against Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup, and around 30th minute, he got subbed off by Mikel, and that pretty much showed and told everything you need to know. Pretty much it showed that he is done at Arsenal. And ever since that game, he almost didn't see the pitch whatsoever almost, and he started to go out on loans. He went on loan to Marseille, where, by the way, he did actually pretty darn good. He started the season on fire, scoring goals, assisting from that spot, but then the results started to go a bit south for the team. They sacked their manager, new manager came in, and his performance is also instantly, massively dipped into the ground. So, but yeah, we had a great start. Then he went down to loan to Nottingham Forest, where, I'm not gonna lie, he didn't do great. Genuinely, he didn't do great whatsoever. Very sorry, he didn't do great out on loan at Forest. But on Lazio, it's a completely different story. Arsenal have loaned out with option to buy, no, with obligation to buy, sorry, Nuno Tavares to Lazio. Now, the start for him at Lazio was very poor because in the first training, in the first 20 minutes of Lazio training, he got injured, which already, for me, was a panic sign in a way that this could not end well. However, he has completely turned it around. As you can see, he got hamstring injury before the season kicked off. We got lucky in that regard. And he is at the moment, in 5 games for Lazio, he has 5 assists. He is the second leading assister in top 5 leagues in Europe. Number 1 is Bukayo Saka with 7, by the way. Second place is like even with Yamal and some other players, but the second place is Nuno Tavares. As wild and as mad as it sounds. At the moment, he is our most successful loaned out player we have at the moment. And by the way, he is not just randomly getting them. He's actually playing properly from left back. He has played 424 minutes in Serie A, which comes out in 5 games, which is nearly 450, right? 90 times 5, 450. He nearly has played every single game from bell to bell, right? And if you think about it, he was on the bench for the first 2 games against Udinese and Venezia, but since then, he played against AC Milan in 2-2 draw. He got 2 assists. He played against Hellas Verona. They won 2-1. He lost to Fiorentina. He got an assist in that game. In the only goal, he got subbed off in 89th minute. Oh no, he got a yellow in 89th minute. He got subbed off in 90th. He played a full 90. Against Torino in 3-2 win away, he got an assist and he got subbed off at 68th minute because they had to switch formation a bit around because something wasn't working. And against Empoli at home again, he got an assist. He played 86 minutes and he is actually on fire for Lazio. Now, I'm not saying that Lazio is his level because Lazio actually is a very, very good team. I'm not gonna lie. They have very good players. But I think if he can keep this up, he actually might get sold because obviously, if you compare it to his last year's stats, he played only 8 games in Premier League. He wasn't in the squad whatsoever. He was injured or anything. So that was a bust pretty much season. But if you watch his stats as well as for Ligue 1, in 31 games he played for Marseille, he got 6 assists. And as you can see, most of the points came in the first part of the season. He got 5 goals in the first half of the season, which kind of coincides with around the time when the manager got sacked and it all went south with everything. And then, as you can see, he almost did nothing. He played full 90s pretty much consistently, at least until the last part for the last 10 games of the season. But overall, he was doing well. He legit was doing well. If he gets playtime and if you have a proper manager who knows how to use him, he actually is doing well. So at the moment, he is actually, you could say, on fire for Lazio, which is actually quite amazing to see. Because that obligation, Serie A, I need Serie A. With options, that obligation to buy could actually come in hand. The only worry for me with this is the fact that if he keeps performing like this, that obligation to buy, if it's already on a set value, could look like a bargain for Lazio. We actually could miss out on some money. That would be the only worry for me per se. But otherwise, if he keeps this up, he would be one of those players we actually could sell and actually get some money for. Because Arsenal don't get too much money on their outcasts of the team. And there's no argument about the fact that Nuno Tavares is one of the outcasts of the team for Arsenal in terms of getting game time. So definitely that could be a very, very good thing. Reiss scored but played 85 minutes. He gets subbed off. Oh, Slovenia won 1-0 against against Kazakhstan. Let's see who scored. Who scored for Slovenia? I want to check this now. Slovenia, Mlakar scored. Okay, England are winning 3-1 against Finland. Grealish scored, Trent scored, and Rice scored. Okay, cool. Good for Rice. Instantly got subbed off for Gallagher. Okay, my national team is playing. What's the starting 11? They're playing 4-4-2. There's no chance they're playing 4-4-2. Although, since it's against Faroe Islands, I can see that. I generally can see that, potentially. Gibraltar. Malta are winning against Moldova. Raw. Anyways, North Macedonia 2-0 against Armenia. Yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, Nuno Tavares could actually be the one. He could be the one that actually does something and Arsenal could get some proper money for. Because if we look at Lokonga, it's still up in the air. What's going to happen with Fabio Vieira, God knows. What we're going to do with Reiss Nelson, also God knows what's going to happen there. The only loan we actually could get some money for, proper money, somewhat proper money, let's just say that, is Nuno Tavares, ironically enough. And since we bought him for 8 million, if we sell him for 12 to 15, we actually have gotten some ROI, which as an Arsenal fan, you don't see too often. We are not the team that's very well known for signing player for, let's just say, 20 and selling him for 30 million. We are definitely not well known for that. And I want to speak about this guy. Even though he's not on loan, We sold him for 28 plus 7, basically almost 35 million overall to Fulham. And look at this guy, 7 games, 2 goals, 1 assist, number 10 left mid, number 8, and he is actually doing very, very well as too for Fulham. He played against United, they lost 1-0. He scored against Leicester in 2-1 win. He assisted for West Ham's 1-1 draw, and he scored against Newcastle in 3-1 win. He played only 25 minutes against City. He came off the bench in a 3-2 loss, sorry. Rest of the games he plays quite a bit. And that is something why basically he wanted to leave. He wanted to get some proper game time. And we all know what Emil Smith-Rowe is about. If he gets proper game time, if he can stay injury free, he is actually a proper baller. Because it was 22-23 season or 23-21, no, it was the season before that. It was 21-22 season. 21-22 season. This was the season for Emil Smith-Rowe to break out. 33 games, 10 goals, 2 assists. This is that season when him and Bukayo Saka single-handedly saved his job, in my opinion. And he was on fire. And this kind of had the indication that there actually is a very great player there. And if he stays injury-free and can get proper game time, he could actually be a proper player for Arsenal. However, as for many players, the biggest thing that struck him was injuries. Because if you look at the injuries he has been struck with since he hit that 21-22 season, he had a groin surgery that missed 121 days, 21 games. Then he got thigh problems, missed 4. Last season, missed 10 games for Arsenal as well. And Mikel Arteta didn't use him almost whatsoever, pretty much, even when he had the chance. He was on the bench, but barely got subbed on. In the second part of the season, he played against Luton Town at home. He got man of the match. And after that, he almost didn't play again whatsoever. Mikel Arteta, even though promised him proper game time and everything, he kind of didn't deliver. You could say he lied and everything, but he just didn't deliver at the end of the day. So selling Emil Smith-Rowe was kind of inevitable given the fact that he wanted to start games. He wanted some proper minutes at the end of the day. And I think Arsenal made the best out of the worst situation, selling him for 35 million. So then we will see how this goes, how everything develops. But so far, Emil Smith-Rowe together with Reiss Nelson and Iwobi are actually on fire for Fulham. That is actually something nice to see. Something I want to see is how Nketiah is doing at Crystal Palace. 4 games, no goals, no assists, 1 yellow. Holy crap. Sold for nearly 30 million euros. How wild is that? So what has he done specifically for Crystal Palace? He played attacking mid, didn't do any. Attacking midfield, how dumb is that? Didn't do anything. He played as a second striker, didn't do anything. Right wing, didn't do anything. And played the center forward against Liverpool and also didn't do anything. Now, he scored in the Carabao Cup against QPR, helped them win, and that is great. The thing is, though, something that Glasner has been in the interviews talking about, indicating the fact that he's trying to figure out a way to switch Crystal Palace's formation to 2-striker formation so he can have Mateta and Nketiah up top simultaneously. It will be very interesting to see if it comes to that, because mostly, if it comes, it would be very, very interesting how Nketiah deals in those situations. Because I think that Nketiah could actually benefit for having a second striker who is a bit taller, stronger, and more physical than him next to him. I think that could also be the case. So Nketiah is doing best he can. He has played quite a bit of minutes, by the way, but he has done nothing. He has more yellow cards than he has GA for Crystal Palace at the moment, so I guess we dodged the bullet for that one. But all I'm gonna say, these stats and everything has all the indications for Nketiah to score against Arsenal and the winning goal, by the way. As wild as it sounds, our ex-players tend to do very good against us, so hopefully that won't be the case, but yeah, it is a bit sketchy in that regard. But yeah, I think that kind of concludes our loan watch, doesn't it? Because we talked about Neto and Sterling in, we talked about Vieira, Marquinhos, Reiss Nelson, Lokonga, Nuno Tavares, Hein. On top, we looked at the players we sold in Emil Smith-Rowe and Nketiah. Do we have anything else we wanna look at and talk about before we sign off? If you're new around here, of course, smash thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell, leave a comment down below, or get live interactive in the chat. Is there anything we wanna talk about, or that is it? Because I'm trying to run through my head other players we have sold and that have left Arsenal this summer, and I cannot think of many. I'm not gonna lie. Although we sold some players, I cannot think of many. So at the moment, it is what it is. Wait. What is he doing? Chido Obe Martin. I want to see, is he playing for them? For unders and anything? No, he hasn't. He has played 24 Arsenal, scored. This is wild. He played 18 games for Arsenal in last season in under 18s. Scored 32 goals, got 3 assists. So he got basically nearly 2 GA every single game. That is wild. That is genuinely wild. Chido Martin, will he be the one that got away? Or will at the end he will grow and he will flop? Obviously I don't wish him on that, but could that be the case? That is the big question here. Because based on these stats, he should grow and become a phenomenal striker on some level. He has generally 2 GA per game last season for Arsenal's under 18s. Obviously, he's 16, so he plays with 2 years older guys, but he's more physical and everything, so that kind of helps him. But overall, that is kind of wild. A quick check on academy games. I think Skelly played for under 21s. Miles Lewis Skelly. Okay, let's see. 18 years old. Full stats. You said under 18s, right? Premier League 2. He wasn't in the squad against Spurs a week ago. At least. Wait, let's check. Arsenal under 21 schedule. Arsenal under 21. So we lost to MK Dons. What was the lineup? Can you see the lineup? Yes, you can. Skelly played. Monluis played. Nygaard played, by the way. Nygaard played in goal. Not Setfer, who apparently is still injured. Mhand played. Oyedeji scored. Anush scored. So he played at left back. Yeah, Luis Skelly played at left back. Who did we sub on? We subbed on Jujak, Ford, Nichols we subbed on. So that is actually nice to see him getting a few games. Okonkwo's brother didn't play. Interesting. Skelly played for under 21s. Skelly did. Oyedeji scored. I'm very interested about this Oyedeji. Will he get a chance in Arsenal's main squad at any point? In the near future, at least a year or two. Will he get a chance? Because at the moment, it's like a bit up in the air. Oyedeji, he's 21 already. So he kind of is bridging the gap between being under 21s and being a senior to being called up. So that for me is also a big question. Will anything happen there or not? So we will wait and see. But on that note, I think I'm gonna end it here. So it's been a fantastic stream, to be honest. It's been quite fun. So thank you guys so much for being here. If you're new around here, smash thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell. You've been fan-freaking-tastic. Big up Nathan. He suggested this stream and it has been fantastic. Actually quite nice to watch, I'm not gonna lie. I'm keeping an eye on Anush. I might look at him as well, into him at least as well. No Diddy and stuff like that, but you get what I mean. Definitely gonna look into that. Into him, and we're gonna look. But yeah, for today I'm gonna be signing out. So thank you guys so much for watching. You have been fan-freaking-fantastic. Big up Nathan again for suggesting this type of stream. Never had an idea to do so, but it was fantastically fun. Big up to you. Take care, stay safe. Monday tomorrow, it will be hell on earth, let's be real. So prepare for that. I'm gonna prepare as well as much as I can. And see you all tomorrow in the evening and see what else Arsenal brings in that regard.